What's going on YouTube? What up on Throttle back here with another tutorial video. And in the previous video we talked about how to set up the best podcast audio available, and today we're going to dive deep into the specification of the Rode Wireless Go 2, one of these bad boys, and the hidden feature that is stored deep within the device. Alright guys, so now that you can see that we're on the website of the Rode Wireless Go 2, and the pricing on this can be a little steep at $299, but believe me, it is worth paying for. The dual channel allows you to come with the two devices, so you have the two transmitter and one receiver, which allows you to simultaneously record two separate mics, and you can do them in solos, or you can mix them down to a stereo if you like. So it gives you more flexibility in terms of EQing and also tweaking the audio of microphone 1 and microphone 2. So if you have speaker 1 talking a little bit more loud than the speaker number 2, you can go in there and manually edit the audio by turning down the gain, whether it be on the device itself or in your video editing software. So, oh yeah, one thing I do want to mention too is that the single is $199, but it only comes with one mic. So it gives you a little bit less flexibility, but you would just maybe fork out an additional 100 just to get that additional flexibility. So let's run through the key features real quick. As I said before, the dual channel gives you the dual inputs to the device, and it gives you more flexibility. And also it does run on a 2.4 gigahertz band with encryption. In my opinion, it's not really as important, because if you're recording in a public setting and if you're going to be uploading to other social media or YouTube, stuff like that, it's not going to be an issue. But if you want to record privately, just know that between the receiver and the transmitter, it is encrypted. So the next thing is that the output on this device has two. You're looking at the 3.5 millimeter tip ring sleeve. So you can plug it into your DSLR, or you can plug it into USB-C and control it with either your Android phone, Apple phone, or even your desktop using the desktop software, which we'll get into a little bit later in the video. And that's where the secret feature lies, the ability to record 40 hours of internal memory. So, which is pure gold, because if you're out of memory in your laptop or on your phone, you have the capability to record up to additional 40 hours with this thing of audio. So it doesn't get any better than that, and it truly adds to the value of the mobility of this device. But the thing is though, it is very tucked away, and not a lot of people know about that function, but I'll show you a little bit later how to get to it. All right, and then last but not least, you have up to 7 hours of recording time for each of these devices. And as you can see in my previous video, you can have a portable charging station, a power bank if you will. And yeah, you can keep your microphone set up safe and secure. All right, so how do you get to the hidden 40 hours of recording on one of these devices? Well, just go to the Rode website, scroll down, and then you're going to see the Rode Central application, which will work with PCs or Mac, or if you have an iPhone or Android, you can always choose the mobile download. So in my case, I'm going to use the desktop, and I'll show you how to access the memory. All right, so after you download the application and put it on your desktop, you're going to have a little icon here. All you have to do is double click on it, and this little application will appear. So depending on if your devices has been updated or not, you will be prompted to update the firmware. All it is a few next or continue clicks, and it will get you to the latest version of the firmware. So as you can see here, we have a lot of features, and I will run through each one individually and tell you what it does. And believe me, this is pretty amazing and feature rich. So let's start off with the first one, which is the backlight. It turns your backlight of the receiver on and off, which is pretty self-explanatory. And the next one is the gain fine mode. So it defines how finely your gain up or down with the volume is. And the next one is, of course, self-explanatory, turning up or down on the gain. So if you don't know what gain is, it's just how loud I apologize, how sensitive the mic is going to be. So if you have a very soft speaker, you want to turn up the gain so you can pick up their voice a little bit better. The next one here is the mode. So right now, if you have the just a single mic on, it may sound a little jarring when you apply it to the software because you're only hearing it out of one ear, whether it be the left or the right. So right now it's merged. So what it does is that it takes one channel and it splits it into two. So therefore, when you put it on, the audio will be a little bit better and it wouldn't be so jarring for the listeners. So the next one is the safety channel, which is one of my favorite features, to be honest, because it gives you a safety net, if you will. What it does, if you enable this, what it does is that it records two tracks. So if your gain and if your speaker is too sensitive and your speaker is too loud, the secondary channel, it's automatically recorded at -20 decibels. So therefore, it gives you that extra security blanket. So you won't hear that clipping that you would normally hear if somebody starts to laugh too loudly or speak too loud or starts yelling, and you won't get any distortion. So it's a nice built-in safety net that Rode has thought about. And last but not least, you have the button that's on the device itself and what it does. So you can click it, and right now it's on backlight. It will turn on and off. But also if you toggle it, it can be a marker too. So when you extract the audio from it, it's going to give you markers of where you push the button. All right, so let's plug in the transmitter, and I'll show you how to get to the recording banks of these devices. All right, so now that I just plugged in my other wireless transmitter, it's going to show up on your application here on the left. And when you click on it, and also one thing before is that if you haven't updated it, it's going to prompt you again for a firmware update. And all you have to do is hit a bunch of continues, and that's that. So let me move myself over here. Now, I wouldn't worry about this feature over here yet. This is more of an export feature. Once the internal memory records something, then you can have access to these features. But for now, I don't know why they did this, but it's extremely hidden. Just click on the cogwheel over here on the left. Now you have access to the menu of the device itself. So how do you enable the recording to the internal memory of this device? You have to enable it by clicking this button right here in order to record. So from now going forward, every time you turn the device on, it's going to start to record and it's going to save them into the internal memory. All right, so now that you've enabled the recording, the next button over here is the pad. So essentially it helps reduce, not eliminate, but reduce kind of the external noise, the external rumbling, more of like the lower end of the audio, so it doesn't sound as terrible when you record. And the next one is how bright the LED light is on your unit. Sometime if you're recording in the dark or if you're in a low light situation, you want to have it maybe a little bit dimmer so it doesn't blind the people around you. And of course, the next one is the mute button. So you can toggle on and off the mute button on the device itself, or if you're afraid of accidentally muting yourself the whole time, you can always change it to marker, which will mark the recording internally. And also, yeah, so it toggles back and forth. Or you can just turn it off entirely and just go to none. But, you know, I like it on the mute button. So in case you need to mute real quick, and then you can hit the button. All right, so now let's talk about the recording quality that's stored onto your mic. You have two options, essentially, uncompressed and compressed. So self-explanatory, compressed, the audio sounds a little bit more brittle, a little bit more fragile. Because it is compressed. You're taking a lot of data content and you're just narrowing it down. Whereas the uncompressed, it records the raw audio that it hears around you and it doesn't compress it. Generally, it is a lot better. And as you can see, you can get up to about 7 hours of recording. Whereas if you use compressed, that'll get you about 43. So that in itself should tell you about how much information is stored with compressed audio versus uncompressed audio. Personally, I like better quality things, so I would go for the uncompressed data, even though it only lasts about 7 hours. But the thing is, though, these guys only last about 7 hours anyways, a battery charge. So maybe there's a correlation there. All right, other than that, you just get the date and time and the firmware. So yeah, so just remember, in order to access the recording on these, you just have to do the recording. So I'm going to record a little bit here, and I'm going to show you how to access and export the audio that's stored internally into your computer, and then from there you can do as you wish. Alright guys, so I just plugged the receiver back in, and as you can see, it repopulated on my menu here. All you have to do is click on it, and over here you're going to see the recording that I just did. So I did 3 very quick recording, 8 seconds, 15 seconds, 25 seconds. And if you click on it, it gives you the wave layout of here, and also various markers that I've put in there. So now you can select whatever clip you desire. So we can do maybe this one and this one. And over here you select what format you want to have it output, the WAV or MP3. Sample rate, 48 kilohertz or 44.1, depending on what your audio needs are. And also the bit depth, 24 or 32 bits. So remember, the higher the quality, the less space you're going to have available, and also the bigger the file size is going to be. Once you're satisfied with all of the settings that you have, you can hit the green export button here and then choose a folder location where you want your files to be stored, and then hit save, and then you're done. And one other thing I do want to bring up too is that it was kind of unexpected, is when you plug in your wireless receiver, it popped up a window as if it was a thumb drive. So potentially you can use this even as a portable thumb drive, if you will. So you can store audio files and other files onto there, and you can plug it into your computer and retrieve it that way. In my opinion, I wouldn't use it for that because it wasn't built for that, but it is another tool available to you if you want to use it in that way. Alright guys, well, to wrap things up, I hope that you find the video educational and it gives you at least some sort of benefit of watching and having access to the hidden feature that the Rode Wireless Go 2 has to offer. And it is a very feature-rich device that you can use, and it's extremely valuable if you're going to be doing recording podcasts, and if you're going to be mobile out and about with it. And just the hidden feature alone, the ability to record 7 to over 40 hours of internal memory on one of these bad boys, is extremely valuable. And as always, please like and subscribe if you like what I'm doing in the tutorials and the podcast that I'm putting out. And also feel free to leave any comments behind, any questions, and any suggestions for future videos. And as always, we'll see you in the next one.